Welcome to what can potentially be the very last conversion we do in the state of Victoria. Hey, listen, very often we get asked the question of conversions versus purposely designed rooming houses. And I thought this is the perfect setting to have a conversation about not only why purpose-built properties are better and why purpose-designed properties provide a better return and a better experience for tenants, but also about the process of doing a conversion like the one we have done in this house. This is an 8-bedroom house, beautiful finishes, great result considering their starting point, with amazing work from not only the Stone Horizon team, but also with a pair of great owners who have been very collaborative through the whole process. But the reality is that this process didn't go without challenges. The reality is we were actually intending to turn this house into an 8-bedroom, 4-bathroom house. However, the new building regulations meant that we needed to create universal access for this property. But we didn't realize that until the owners have bought the property, until we have done a set of plans, and we were applying for the building permit. Basically, the project was already committed, and we put a massive handbrake on it because the building surveyor will just not approve it. That meant we needed to go back and redesign the whole thing and end up with a project that not only was more expensive in terms of cost than we originally anticipated, but also was harder to execute, took longer, and therefore took a detour that we just were not planning. Now, we expect that conversions are going to get harder and harder for a couple of reasons. The first one is the right floor plan for conversion is actually hard to find. And as more and more investors try to invest in this type of property, it's going to be harder and harder to find a house that has the right floor plan to turn it into a conversion. Also, the building code is evolving over time. Now we have things like universal access and 7 Energy Star rating and a whole bunch of things that weren't there when we originally started doing this type of projects. Just in this house, we had to change half the windows because the windows were not compliant anymore. This house was built in the 70s and maybe expanded in the early 80s. That's like 10 or 20 grand that owners had to spend in windows that weren't originally part of the plan. That's the reality. A lot of people are out there saying conversions are the business and they're the solution to every potential challenge out there. We're seeing something very different, and we're not afraid to call it out. For some projects, for some investors, under certain circumstances, conversions might still make sense. But for the vast amount of people, you still can get a much better result by having a purpose-designed, purpose-built rooming house. There you go. Mic drop.